Do, 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 do. Propagating. Please wait. Okay. I actually like this. I like this a little bit more. I don't know if it's even working. I guess the one way to check is to go and look at the channel, right? Hey, if this is working, hello to everybody. Let me go to my channels and see. Let's see if I am live. Forgive me if I am and I don't even realize it, but I'm using a slightly different system than I normally use. Oh, yeah. Okay, so is it actually playing? Okay, here we go. Hey, everybody. I am live, and I think I got it successful. It has been a minute since I've done a U up stream, and just want to give everybody a few minutes to jump in the various rooms, and be sure to hit the share. And boy, if you don't get into bed, Jeremiah, I had some. I don't know. It's just been a while since we've talked, and I had a chance. Here he goes. You're gonna see him run across the room like lightning. Um, we've had so many changes and growth, and things are just. It's just been a while since we talked, so I wanted to take a few minutes this evening and talk with you. And I had a chance to talk with our patrons last night, and we had a fascinating conversation. I was able to update them on a whole lot of stuff that's going on, and I want to share with you all this evening for a few minutes. So the only thing that I don't like about this new system is that it doesn't bring the comments in. Yeah, it doesn't bring my comments into one place, and I can't put the comments on the screen. So that's a little whack. So I can't see your comments, but I'm going to try to jump in a couple of chat rooms and at least see some of your comments that way as Jeremiah runs back and forth. I hope everyone is doing well. And like there's so many things that I do want to talk about, and none of them are like directly political. So if you're tuning in and you want some political analysis, you probably aren't going to get that tonight, because that's just not the vibe that I'm in. But also, I'm just looking at my timeline. Just want to send love again to my homeboy James, James Bubba Williams, the DJ for DJ exclusive for the morning show, Like It or Not. We lost a friend in common, but it was, we all marched in the band together. But this was James's friend, like lifelong friend, and we have, it's a rough weekend for a lot of friends of ours, but particularly our DJ. So y'all just continue to show them some love. It's really weird in this pandemic. The connections that we get through these streams are actually really important. And so you leaving a comment really does make a difference. So love and solidarity to our brother and everyone who knew Brother Alvin. Just solidarity with all of you guys. I had this fascinating conversation with a friend of mine today that really kind of solidified some things in my mind. The fights that we're fighting, sometimes they feel extremely, extremely frivolous. And they feel frivolous not because of our goal, but the journey along the way to get to those goals. And the thing about it that's so sobering, but also bothersome, is that it's not even our goal that matters. It's the journey on the way to get there. One of the things I do wrong on a regular basis is that I stay so focused on the goal. For example, let's just give you one example. Like, one of my goals is to build a media company that actually fights and delivers content for the purposes of liberation. Our motto is this: liberation is excellence. Liberation is excellence. That's our motto. And we mean that. Like, everything that we do is centered around the liberation of all people because we literally can do that. There's nothing stopping us from ending poverty except greed. There's nothing stopping us from ending war except the greed that is attached to the military industrial complex. There's nothing stopping us from ending homelessness. Like, I was talking to a friend today and I was like, man, if we wanted to, we could end poverty tomorrow. He was like, dude, we could end poverty by the end of business today. We just choose not to do those things as a society. And the stuff that we choose to do instead is, somebody said it on Twitter. I wish I had the tweet. They're like, we're floating on a rock in space and we're paying bills. We are the best that we could choose to do with our system, with our humanity, with our sentience, with our brilliance, is this raggedy system that we got. And so one of my goals has been to just chip away at that, just a little bit. Now, I mean, I don't think we're not gonna solve the equation of the universe. We're not gonna fix the world, but I'm like, we can do our part. And in that process of focusing so hard on doing my part, our part, I forgot a lesson that I learned a long time ago. Or maybe I didn't learn it. Maybe I just heard it. And it's the things that happen along the way. So here I am, focused like a laser on this media company and not realizing that the entire point of me starting this media company wasn't even the media company. It's all the lessons that we learned along the way. And it's good and poetic, but man, I'm so tired. Yeah, I'm so tired of having to learn these lessons. Because with every lesson, sometimes, not every lesson, but sometimes these lessons come with setbacks. Sometimes the things that we have to learn are painful. We have to learn about ourselves. We have to learn about, our profession. We have to learn about friends. We have to learn about relationships. We have to learn about all these things. And every time we learn, it's like, it ain't fun. It is not fun, but it's necessary. I never forget. Jada, cut off the stream for a second, Jada. No, I'm joking. I never forget this one chick I was talking to back in the day, and she always had this disposition of trying to literally be the very best that she could be at everything that she did. And it wasn't obnoxious. It was admirable. But I slowed down, and one day I was like, what are you preparing for? Like, you trying to run for president one day? And I wasn't trying to at all. It was just sheer curiosity. Like, why did she have this drive that was like insatiable? And she said, no. She's just, this is just how she is, and this is what she does. But then I realized, I don't know. It's just, I looked at my life over the last 20 years, and it's just been this one long, relentless push every single day. I don't even know how many people watch this. There could be 10 of us right now. It doesn't matter. Relentless push to get somewhere. And the gag is, folks, we're never going to get where we're trying to go. But the things that we learn along the way, that's the real thing. That's the real victory. That's the real journey. That's the whole purpose. And so for me, always looking at the end and missing the roses, and sometimes the traps and the snares, and sometimes it's like the setups and the not paying attention to the environment, and not paying. I don't mean the climate. I mean the political environment. Not paying attention to the fights that are happening, and then me just swaggering in and jumping into some fights that I probably should have just kept my mouth shut on a couple of times. Yeah. It's because I'm so damn focused on where I was trying to get with my little bitty contribution to society, as small as it may be. I was focused on it like a laser. And sometimes you just got to take a step back and realize it's the process. I'm just talking to me. Hell, I literally can be talking to me. How many people are watching? I don't even know. Let's see. Oh, hell, we got 120 on Facebook. What we got over here on YouTube? Shout out to Facebook. We got 200 on YouTube. That's what's up. And I even checked Twitch, but shout out to Twitch. Let me see what's happening on Twitter, because Twitter is a wasteland. Twitter is one of the, and don't get me wrong, like 90% of my success in this thing has come as a result of Twitter. But holy God, Twitter has to be the most like if you want to go somewhere just for the purposes of being like irritated, go to Twitter. So shout out to everybody. I see you guys. So I'm not talking to myself. All right. And what am I saying? Like how, like, what's the purpose of me doing a stream? Well, twofold. One, I kind of committed to it last night and didn't even realize. I barely even remember last night. Okay. But I'm a man of my word. If I'm nothing else, I'm a man of my word. That's number one. Number two, I just look at how our politics are going to kill us. I've been doing this for 6 years. I've studied this at every level. My bachelor's is in economics. Master's is in political science, international relations. And I would have my PhD, but I ran out of money. And it's in international security. I've studied this from a religious perspective. I've studied this from, obviously this space, political commentary space. Had a little bit of talent in this area, and I was able to like do what I do now. And last week was a pretty productive week. I think I did damn near 18 shows. I don't even know. I lost track. I get to hang out with the Young Turks. I get to hang out with Sam Cedar. I get to hang out with Roland Martin. I get to hang out with David Pakman. I get to hang out with like some of the biggest names in our industry doing this. And I guess that's because like I'm pretty good at what I do. After everything I've studied, our politics are going to destroy us. American politics in particular is going to destroy us. And I've been so focused on trying to figure out how we stop that from happening that I'm almost missing life. I think the same might be true for you all. Like whatever it is that you're doing, you're watching this because you're a political connoisseur. Like you absorb politics and you listen to political commentary. And after a while, you gotta, it's not, don't get me wrong. I'm not quitting. If anything, I'm gonna double down. Okay. But I just had to pause. Maybe I need to do these Saturday night check-ins because just the constant grind of doing this. And here's the other thing, I'm just talking. I rarely have scripts for anything. The grind is, this fight wears you down. And I'm not quite sure how people do this except for divorcing their actual heart and soul from this work. Cause I'll keep it 100. Like, I don't know there's like nobody in my camp who does this because we getting paid good money to do this. All right. I've spent more years spending money to do this than I did ever making money doing this. And there's a lot of people who are just like that. I've met a couple of people today, had a couple of conversations, like shout out to, like, there's so many people who do this work, don't ever get no money for it, but they do it. They do it because this is our life and we're fighting for our lives. And so, yeah, we going to have our head to the ground, our feet to the ground, and our hands on the plow. And we just working because we're not doing this. We're not doing this for the glitz and the glamour. It's super cool that I could talk to you guys like this at night and I got the, but we do this work because we absolutely know something's got to change. But we're doing this work amongst people for whom this is a game. That they can get clicks and they can get views and they can make good money and they can do this. And it's like, I've done this at every level. And I'm going to tell y'all the truth. If we are not careful, I'm saying this, and I believe it or not, I'm saying this from a hopeful place. And that's why I preface it by, if we're not careful, American politics in specific will be the demise of humanity. American politics, because it's so rooted in individualism. It's so rooted in selfishness. It's so rooted in greed, even down to the people that we surround, even people in our space, even people like, I'm not here to make a plug for any other media network that I hang out with, but like, it's refreshing because like some of the people, how can I put this? On one hand, you have people who are like, y'all are sellouts. Ben Dixon is a sellout. XYZ is a sellout. This organization is a sellout. That person is a sellout. And I'm in the background and I'm like, I'm working with these people. I'm seeing their ethics. I'm seeing their work ethic. I'm seeing what drives them. I'm seeing the decisions that they're making. And I'm looking at them and I'm like, they're not too far off from the genuineness that I think I have for myself. But we're in this weird space where it's like it's just a real, even the people who are ostensibly out here fighting for the right reasons, it is I'm doing my very best, man, not to use any profanity tonight, but I'd have got nothing else to describe this but a cluster F of individualism and selfishness and greed in our spaces. Progressive, liberal, Democrat, leftist, socialist, communist. Like, I'm like, how you a whole communist and you're demonstrating the same greed that is endemic to the system? And here my silly behind out here with nothing but my best of intentions, working so hard to do a thing and just kind of missing out on some very practical things. And it's depressing, but it's real. And I'm going to just drop this. The number one problem that we face is selfishness and individualism. If we don't get a collective mentality, if we don't get a collectivist mentality at the core of everything we do, from our homes, our household, to our collective movements, to this whole entire nation, the number one way America's able to get away with what it gets away with is by virtue of the fact that everybody is out for themselves, and very few people, if any, are out for the collective good. And then some of us who are out for the collective good, we just a bunch of, dummies. I'm talking about me. I ain't talking about nobody else. It's like we're just out here with our heart and our intention, and that ain't enough in this world. There's a scripture that says we got to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. I had the harmless as doves thing down, but 90% of my journey here to this point has been hardening my heart so that I could be wise as a serpent, because there's some snakes out here, y'all. High key in our spaces. And that's to be expected because we are an entire nation built on individualism. And this is not to attack anybody. It's to say that I think that some of these people who are in our progressive, liberal, whatever space that you categorize yourself in, they're snakes in your spaces. But the fact of the matter is that they are themselves a reaction to this ridiculous system that we have found ourselves in, where we're floating on a rock in space, paying bills. Somebody said on Twitter like that. It's like we're floating on this beautiful planet, and the best that we can come up with is this ridiculous system of survival rooted in greed and individualism and selfishness and war. And so on this journey, especially, hell, I'll be honest with you, the last 2 years of this journey, actually, since I came to Atlanta, like if any place I should want to get away from, it should be Atlanta. Like, because every bit of being in Atlanta has been about creating a backbone of steel that had to be forged through fire. Because the shit we've been through. Sorry, Ma. The stuff that we have had to go through just in Atlanta. And when I say we, I'm not just talking about my household. I'm talking about like our crew. I ain't by myself. One of the reasons I rock with Rebecca so hard is because she been through 3 of the firestorms that I've been through. She was right there with me because she was young and idealistic enough to think it was going to work too. And going through those things have been necessary, right? So I'm not complaining at all. It's like, well, damn, I did not realize that the components that we need to win these fights is a thrashing. It is a level of, it is glamorous. Don't get me wrong. It is super cool for me to be able to throw on the little sweater and get my little, all this and the lighting and all that shit's cool. But on the opposite side of this, and it's not the thing that's on the opposite side of this. It is the root of it that I really am talking about. The stuff that we have to go through to try to get something done on this planet in our lifetime is because we're all out here trying to survive this unbelievably toxic system that is rooted in greed, and everything around the system is set up to protect the system. So any of us who try to upend the system for something better, we are just there, just getting shot down, sometimes literally. And so this isn't a woe is me in the sense of like, oh, I'm so upset about the stuff that I had to go through. I just forgot to slow down and realize the stuff that we go through is the whole point. The fight that you just had to come through and survive, that's literally the point. Not where you're trying to go, but what you went through to learn the lesson that you needed to learn in order to get wherever you're going to end. I'm talking to me. So I had to like really shift my disposition in the way I think about these things. Instead of keeping my eyes so focused on where I'm trying to go, what I got to do is take a look at what we're going through in order to get wherever we're going to end up. No idea. But the stuff that we have to go through, the stuff that you literally are going through is the point, because that's life. Let me make it extremely plain. How many of you honestly remember the point at which you became an adult? You probably don't, because nobody told you when it happened. Excuse me. Nobody told you when it was going to happen. Nobody told you that, okay, today you're an adult. But what you realized was, God damn, all the stuff that I've been through. And you just had to make the decision in your own heart to say, I'm grown. I don't need anybody else to tell me I'm an adult, right? That's how you decided that you were an adult. That's when you realize that you were an adult, when you look back at everything that you went through here until this point and you like, I don't need anybody to tell me that I'm an adult because life has already happened. And so what ends up happening is we get so busy with our careers and we're trying to get somewhere. We're trying to move up the ladder. We're trying to move up the corporate ladder. We're trying to get our house. We're trying to get our family. And we didn't pay attention to all the life that happened in between. But the whole point of life is everything that happened along the way. And I learned this. No, let me rephrase this. I was taught this many years ago, like before I even got into politics, but I didn't learn it until I looked up and realized I'm just busy out here being busy. And the whole point was all the lessons and all the stuff that I had to go through on the way to a destination that I may not even make. And that's life. That's life. That's the life part. So on this extremely, I don't know what, I think I got a not a hero complex, but maybe it's a savior complex, because I honestly think that we can fix this system. Please don't ask me why I actually think that. Because all the evidence suggests to me that I should just get my money and go on about my business. My wife understands that I'm completely incapable of doing that. So that's why she's doing this with me, because she literally said, Ben, you're never going to stop. And since you're not going to stop, let me help you do it right. So I think I've got like maybe the ultimate case of like Super Saver World. Correct myself real quick before I get canceled. I honestly think that we could fix some of these things. But in order for us, all of us, for you to fix whatever you're trying to fix, to get to wherever you're trying to go, you got to stop. And I have had to stop and slow down and look at all the crap that has happened along the way and actually realize that that was the point. The point was everything that has been happening along the way, the lessons that we learned from it, the good, the bad, the ugly, the brilliant, the inspiring, the downright depressing, the losses, the pain, the tears. That's why I'm like completely transparent about sorrow and sadness and joy and tears. Man, me and I think Rebecca was out one day and it was just me and James, and we two big dudes on the internet just crying over a couple of stories. Just on the internet, just and you know what? Man, let me tell y'all. Don't take your eye off of what you're trying to do. But sure as hell, live every single moment of your life as you get there. Because as far as you know, you may not get there, right? And what would have been the point of all this if all we did was work and never even paid attention to all the beauty and pain that happened around us? See, what happens is pain has a way of snatching our attention, right? We don't get to choose to pay attention to our pain. Our pain comes and just snatches us, and it holds us, and it keeps us until we're able to move past that pain. Some of us are never able to move past that pain. But the insight and the lessons and the maturation, it's like, again, the perfect example is the fact that nobody told you when you became an adult. You had to look back over the sum total of your life, and you just had to say to yourself, oh yeah, nah, we grown. We've been through it. It's not about responsibility so much as it is about just the catalog of traumas that we are dealt in this existence. And what constantly always drives me is the fact that the majority of the catalog of trauma that we all experience is unnecessary. completely and totally unnecessary. Debt is a construct. War is a construct. Greed is a universal thing, but it is at the core of all these constructs, everything that we have built. Money is literally made up. The idea that you have in your head that if you don't work 70 hours a week, you're going to be poor, that's man-made. There's nothing universal about that idea. In fact, if we simply understood the power of our collectivism, collectivity, whatever, if we understood that, then we would take a step back and see that all of this, the majority. See, here's the thing. Life itself is going to deal us so many pains. I think about it like this. There's like 1 trillion ways the universe wants to destroy us. Not because it doesn't like us, just because it's chaotic out there. It's structured, but there's shit flying around that could land and just wipe us out. It is like 1 trillion ways that we could be destroyed, and that's just life. Why humanity have to come in here and add a whole nother layer of unnecessary trauma? Simply because that's the best somebody's brain could come up with, was to create a system just rooted in greed. And from that simple starting point, the majority of the traumas that you have in your mind right now are all tied back to something that's all a fiction. Wealth is fiction. Who the hell Earth owe? Who? They feel like the Earth is like $18 trillion. So I don't even know the number. It's like some obscene number. Earth is $18 trillion in debt. To who? To who? We literally have the ability to erase everyone's debt. But because of greed, there's no way they're going to do that. There's no way Joe Biden is actually going to cancel our student loans, because there are too many people who are dependent on that structure for their perceived notion of wealth. And so here we are sitting back on top of the natural traumas that occur simply because we had the ignorance of being born and being sentient and understand sorrow and understand life. And so if we understand life, we therefore understand and will come to terms with death. That is traumatic enough, and you want to add onto the fact that I got to work for $7.25 an hour. Okay. Isn't the pain of just being a human being enough? No, apparently it's not. It's not. Because what good is it? What good is it for us to recognize our humanity when you can create these perceived notions of wealth, which creates this stratified system where other people have an opportunity to live a better life than the majority of the people? It's all comparative. It's all comparative. I know. All I'm saying is this. I am obsessed, completely and totally 100% driven by the idea that we can do better. There's literally no reason to do the work that I do. Hell, anybody on my team, for us to do the work that we do, because while it's perceived to be glamorous, it is far more painful than it is glamorous. It's cool to get all the retweets that I get. That is dope. That's fun. But we do this because we actually think that we can make a change. And in the process of doing and making that change, I forgot the most important lesson of all. It's our ability to sit here and talk with each other. It's our ability to spend this time together. It's the journey. It's the fact that I know some of you by name, and then I see, when we can connect with each other and care for each other and love on each other and be kind to each other and to learn together and to grow together, and then sometimes have to go our separate ways, but that happens, right? But it's this journey. It's this journey of life that is way more important than any of our goals, because as far as we know, we may never get to our goals, and we would have missed everything that happened along the way. And if I'm saying anything, I'm saying this. And here I go right back to what's driving me. We have the capacity to enhance every one of our journeys if we just crucify greed. If we slaughtered and declared an all-out war on greed, then we would instantly be able to change the life journey of 7 billion people, to go from one that is a catalog of traumas to one that is a meaningful existence. But one of the number one reasons we can't do that is because American politics, period. I was going to give you something else, but that's it. America. I don't even know if we understand in this country the extent to which we have been drained of our humanity in this country. The extent to which we have been drained of our humanity in this country. And the reason I know it is because I came into this game with my humanity. I'm going to leave this game with my humanity. But I can't help but look around me and see how soulless this country is. And it's all because of greed. But here's the good news. I see you, Jeremiah. The good news is that there are a couple of us who are actually crazy enough to keep trying. And we're going to keep trying. And we're going to keep pushing. And we're going to keep getting the message out, even if it's one by one. And what may end up happening, and I have to come to terms with, it very well may be that somebody's in the audience who's listening to this and it clicks. And where their skill set meets their opportunity, they will be able to move the ball. And that's a good thing. So that while I'm fighting so hard to get to my goal, it very well may be the case that it's somebody in the audience who's able to get to that goal. David couldn't build the temple. Moses couldn't go to the promised land. But I think our greater humanity is going to win out. I think it will. Because if we just do one very complicated but simple thing, there's no way that we will continue to lose to the rulers of this world. They have drained us of our humanity, and I think people have just genuinely forgotten how brilliant it is, how brilliant every life is. I think that's the number one thing that we've forgotten in this country. How else can you explain us allowing 540,000 people to die from this pandemic? It's because we forget that every single one of those lives was unbelievably precious, as important as our own. And if we can simply just start spreading that message where we help people to understand that I am only as important to this universe as you are to me. That's it. I am no more special than you are. I am no more. We got to see the humanity in each other. If we can do that, something happens to us collectively, and we start to turn and look at a powerful system and say, hold on, my brothers and sisters and non-gender conforming individuals in Yemen are just as important as I am. The people who have been on the receiving end of America's drones are just as important as I am. The people who are homeless on Skid Row and across this country freezing this evening are as important as I am. And then I think one other thing that people have to realize is how important you really are. Because we think we and this is it. I'm gonna get out of here because my voice is wearing thin. We think it's like the symbol of intellectual ascension, like the height. Like people like to say humans aren't important. We like to look at how big the universe is and say, oh, Earth is humanity. We're just a footnote. Oh, we're nobody. I think not only do we need to turn and realize that our neighbor is just as important as we are, but I think we need to up how important we realize we are. And I can't really tell you all that without getting like too, stargazing and but I would simply say it as this. Yeah, I think I'm one of the dopest people in the world. I also think that you are as equally as dope. And if at any point, at any juncture in this journey, you have ever felt like you are not significant, let me be the first to tell you, or the first to remind you, that you are brilliant. You are important. You mean, I don't care. You are just as important as Jeff Bezos. I want to use some F-bombs right here to describe that mother bump. You are just as important as Dixon, as Jank, Youre. You're just as important as whoever the new CEO of Amazon. You are literally as brilliant in your own way as whoever this society is telling you is the most important. And if you think about how we protect as a society the people we think are important, you should realize you deserve the same thing. And if we could spread that message, there's no way in the world. There is no way in the world we would ever sit by again and allow this government to be so cavalier with our lives that 500,000 people would be sacrificed on the altar of capitalism because they didn't have to die. No, what had to happen was these corporations had to make their money. So that said, I am dealing this evening with just some realizations about my own personal journey. And I felt like it would be a good conversation for us to have that, in the midst of us trying to save the world, let's not ignore and understand the beauty of what's happening around us in this world. Because then, damn it, I would have missed all of this. And I would have missed the fact that every single one of the scars that I got over the last 3 years of being in Atlanta. I mean, hell, I had plenty of scars in Boston, but these particular sets of scars have been deeply rooted in the fact that for us to get anything done in this system, we're going to need some people with backbones of steel. And you don't get that just by sitting behind a computer screen. You get that by going through some shit. And it is not for the faint of heart, but I do believe every single one of us has something to contribute at a level that your journey is going to prepare you for. So just keep your head in the game, keep fighting for what you're fighting for. But as you fight and as you get hardened and this thing hardens you, don't let it make you lose your humanity. And it's very possible to lose your humanity when all you're doing is focusing on your goal and not the existence and the life and the stuff that's happening to you along the way. All right, folks. Take care of yourselves. I don't even know how long we've been going. Oh, I guess I do. 45 minutes and 59 seconds. I'll catch you guys. I'll see you Monday morning for Like It or Not. And if my voice cooperates with me, I might do, I'll try to start doing just kind of a Saturday wrap up where I get a chance to talk to you solo. And we got a great list of guests that are coming through this week. We've been having a really good time with the morning show, and appreciate all of you. And don't let it break you. Don't let the system break you. Keep fighting.